Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So thank you, Madam Ana Fauziana binti Ahmad, for spending time with us today. Yeah, for the interview session that we are going to talk about the effectiveness of verbal and non-verbal communication in education among students of UniKL MIMET. Alright. So today our interview will have some objective, okay, research objective, which is the first thing first is we want to evaluate the effectiveness between verbal and non-verbal communication in education among the student, especially for the UniKL MIMET students. Okay, and then for the second one, we also like to have some opinion how for us to acquire the impact of effectiveness in terms of examination approval of verbal and non-verbal communication use. Okay, in education among the student, especially in UniKL MIMET students. All right, so uh, this is our two main idea for today interview. So thank you, Madam Ana Fauziana, for joining us today. All right, everyone. So first thing first is I would like to welcome our beloved guest for today interview session, which is we have our beloved guest named Madam Ana Fauziana binti Ahmad. Okay, she's one of the teacher that teaching biology subject in SMK Sanglang. Okay, so her background is very familiar with the students, how the student, the teaching process of education among the students. So first thing first, we would like to have our guest of honor for today to introduce herself first. Please welcome.
Alright, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Fauziana binti Ahmad. As you know, I'm a biology and science teacher in SMK Sanglang, Perlis. I've been in education since 2000 until now. It's about 22 years already. I've gone through KBSM. I've gone through a lot of changing in education system from KBSM, and then there are some PPSMIs, attempts in English, and then now the newest one is the KSSM. And I'm also involved in the what do we call panelists of the peperiksaan papers, examination papers for Negeri Perlis, especially for biology subject. And I've been a chairman for I've been a pengurusi, the chairman for Panitia Negeri for biology subject for Perlis since 2018 until 2020. And apa ni? I'm teach biology and science since 2000 and involved as the examiner for science SPM paper from 2003 until 2018. And so on and so forth. That's all lah. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Ana. So as you shared with us just now, you have involved a lot of activities related with student education, right? So
Yes.
you are one of the examiner. You are also a part of the panelists that are creating, publishing the trial paper for the examinations. So, Madam Ana, can you share with us your experience as you have been almost like 20 years in education system? What can you share with us? What you think that is very important regarding about the verbal and non-verbal communication in the education system? Please welcome.
Verbal and non-verbal communication is actually two things that work simultaneously in teaching and also in learning. So we have to communicate to our student verbally and also non-verbally as to make sure the student can understand and can also process what are we trying to them. Verbal and non-verbal communication is very crucial in science subject, since science subject, especially biology, even though biology is a reading, most of people say biology is a reading subject, but then actually to learn biology, we have to to experience the things, the process. So if we only learn biology through verbal communication only, there are some part of the biology that we have to understand using non-verbal communication, such as the process that happening inside the cell. For example, if the student cannot feel the 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 thing, the process or whatever that happening, then there is no meaning lah for the student. So to help student to understand more, we have to guide the student to undergo learning via non-verbal communication, such as we have to uh, we have to
Stimulate.
stimulate also can. We have to ask the student to do practical using a living thing that they can touch, that they can smell, that they can cut. So when they do the cutting process, the smelling process, the measuring of things that they should do, then it gave them some experience physically. So will stimulate their psychomotor, and then the thing they do will help them to remember, to memorize, to understand things more deeply. So I, as a science teacher, very what do we call, have to have speciality in non-verbal communication. It can help our student actually, especially the student with a very, orang Melayu kata berat mulut. They may be not good in verbal, but they can do non-verbal very good. I found one to two, three of them already. Okay, apa? How to say? What they do will stimulate all of their sensory organ, measuring, and then mixing the mixture. They look at the mixture, the transformation of the color. That will bring them more experience.
And easier for them to recall the process.
Yes, and those action, the thing that they do involving their sensory, is actually will help them feel the thing and help them to understand better what they are learning. Okay, that's all I think.
Alright. So since you have mentioned with us, actually you also answering our third question is actually where you share with us what are the effectiveness, what are the importance of effectiveness of verbal and non-verbal communication, especially
Yeah.
in education. Right. So we are going to answer for the next question is actually, we would like to have your point of view. Okay, your feedback. Okay. How do you relate with the importance of non-verbal education, non-verbal communication in education? As we know, you teaching as a science teacher, a biology teacher, you have lab practical. Okay, you have amali. So under your syllabus, so how do you relate the importance of it in your teaching process?
Well, amali, practical. It is important. Actually, practical support about 30%, maybe 50 for other some student to strengthen their understanding. Okay, so non-verbal is a very important lah. No doubt. Okay, not only in science, actually every subject, but in science it need more apa orang kata, macam mana kita cakap, dia perlu lebih digunakan peneguhan. Macam mana
To
cakap?
strengthen their understanding, etc.
We have to do lah, non-verbal tu kena lagi kuat. Because this non-verbal communication will help the student to enjoy learning.
Yes,
Science,
the process.
yeah, science is not it's a hard subject if you cannot see what the thing that we are trying to learn. So to help the student to engage with the subject, with the content of the teaching, we have to ask the student, we have to bring the student the atmosphere, the thing that will attract student to know more about the thing that we want to teach. Okay, so hopefully with the practical class, kelas kerja amali ni, we hope that student will enjoy learning hands on. They do, then they will understand, hopefully lah. Okay, as it involve all the sensory organ of the student, it will give a better memory for them to accept the new
Knowledge.
the new knowledge. Okay, to understand the lesson better lah. So when the student involvement is deep or great, about 80% of the practical, the understanding of the content can be more effective to them. But sometimes we have to control. If you don't control the non-verbal communication, it will be out of the environment of the situation. That is not good because the student may be slip from the track. So we have to control lah non-verbal communication. As a teacher lah, we should control lah. Okay, alright.
So, Madam, I would like to ask you another question. What do you think is actually for us to measure the effectiveness of verbal and non-verbal communication in education to be measured? For instance, like examination and etc.
Yes. Well, actually, we have to do some interview. You should ask the student spontaneously. Then you can see the body language. Then the way they answer your question. That is the way for us to measure the non-verbal communication which happen towards the student. Other than that, we also can ask question involve the non-verbal communication by using stimulus. We give them pictures, diagram, whatever graph, and then we can see they will respond according to the question lah. Practical examination also can be a way to measure non-verbal communication actually. But the examiner, the teacher should monitor. The teacher should look at the student, the way they do the measuring, the mixing, the whatsoever the practical ask them to do lah. Can lah. The student action toward an illustration or statement given by the question also can be used as the measurement towards the non-verbal communication. Sometimes student, when they saw a picture, they love it, they will positively answer the question in positive way. Maybe some student, they think the picture is not, they think negatively, maybe they don't agree with the picture, then they can answer it according to their way with a suitable answer lah. Kan? Macam kalau soalan tu dia tanya wajarkan. And question about justify. The picture is an apple which is run through a UV light to kill germs. So, do you agree with the action or do you not agree with the action? So if the student said I agree because UV light can kill microorganism on the apple, it's true. Sometimes there are some students said not agree because UV light can cause mutation toward the fruit and then we eat the fruit that mutated. Can also so that is the non-verbal lah. I think is it non-verbal communication?
Yes.
Agree or not agree?
Alright, so
Okay.
Madam, before we end our interview session for today, I would like to have some sharing lah from you before we end. Okay, before that, I would like to share information with you. Actually, we in UniKL MIMET also we having like a ratio which is I think 60% for hands-on. Okay, like you say, hands-on activity is actually non-verbal a
Yes.
method for non-verbal education lah system, and then we have 40% of theories. Okay, so I believe that nowadays every institution are trying to practice this method. Okay, and then so before we end, I would like to have do you have any sharing you want to share with us, especially you as one of the educators in Perlis, before we end our interview session for today?
Well, for the time being, as we just ended the PKPs and we have gone into the endemic period, I think teaching science online is hard. Okay, during the MCO, the learning session is done by gadget, and then the non-verbal communication cannot be traced effectively through the gadget. So sometimes I cannot sense either my student understand or not. So when the school reopen and we can learn face to face, I hope the learning session for science subject can be better because teacher can monitor and assess the student better eye to eye, face to face, better, and then it will have no barrier lah. We don't have any barrier, so student can ask us immediately and we can answer them spontaneous. Yes, so the communication can be effective, either verbal and non-verbal when we open the class face to face. Okay, I think but as I said earlier, verbal and non-verbal communication is very important in learning because non-verbal will support anything that verbal cannot do. Okay, okay. Actions speak louder than words, is it?
Yes.
That's the key. Okay, okay. That's all. I think.
So thank you, Madam Anna, for your sharing your thought during our interview session related with our topic for today, which is the effectiveness of communication. Effectiveness of verbal and non-verbal communication in education system. Okay, among the students, especially in UniKL MIMET. So thank you, Madam, for spending your time with us today. We are very welcoming you. Thank you for spending your time with us. So hopefully your feedback will help us to find a better outcome in our research in the upcoming quiz. Right. So thank you, Madam. See you again. Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you also for having me.
All right.
Okay, bye. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, bye.